There you go. All right. So welcome everybody. Let's go into Tuesday, April 13th. We will be going into Act 3. We're halfway there, guys. We're almost done with the play. Woohoo! After the play, we'll be having a couple different options for a presentation. We're going to be doing a project. Um, so there's very different projects that you could be selecting. We every act we do paragraphs. So we took away that I took away that component of an essay at the very end. So we're just focusing on a project at the very end. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Act 3, Nearpod. And I'll give everybody about a minute to get to our Act 3 Nearpod. Thank you, Sion. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Christian. So 1 minute. About 20 more seconds. I see 12 students. Right now we have a total of 27 students. Let me double check to see who we're missing. Thank you, Alexa Jimenez. Alexa Valdivinos, make sure that you're making your way to Nearpod. Ariana, thank you. Carlos Berta, thank you. Christian, thank you. Sion, thank you. Daniel, thank you. David, thank you. Diana, thank you. Ido, I don't see you there, so make sure to make your way to Nearpod. Jesus, I don't see you on Nearpod. Let's see who else. Joanna, thank you for being on Nearpod. Kat, thank you. Liliana, Maida, thank you. Maribel, I don't see you on Nearpod yet.
Mr. Aguila, I need the code because my computer isn't working. I'm just using my phone right now.
You need to go on Canvas. You need to go on the agenda of the week because there's no code for this one.
Oh, okay.
So you have to make sure you make your way to the agenda of the week. So let me show you once again. Right here on Act 3.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so there's about 23 students. So it looks like we are good to start. If you're not on here yet, make sure to make your way onto Nearpod. So Act 3, guys, let's get into it. So this is a very exciting scene. There's a lot of fighting. That's all I gotta say. I don't want to give it away, but there is a lot of fighting. So let's go ahead and do a quick review of what Act 2 was about. So if you click on this document, it takes you to a PDF. And I'm going to scroll down so we can review Act 2. All right. So after the ball, Romeo goes to the Capulet house to see Juliet. And that's where we get that famous Romeo, Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? So that famous scene. They exchange words of love. Juliet tells Romeo she will send a messenger in the morning to get details about the wedding. Romeo goes to Fair Lawrence to see if he will perform the wedding. Fair Lawrence doesn't want to, but agrees because it might end the feud. The nurse arrives to meet Romeo, Romeo's friends, ridicule. Remember, they were making fun of her. Ridicule the nurse. Romeo tells the nurse where, and when Juliet should meet him for the wedding. Bid her devise some means to come to shrift. The nurse tells Juliet that the news about the wedding, but only after teasing her about not telling her. You remember we have that famous, like, the nurse was just like, "Oh, I'm tired. Just leave me alone for a second." Juliet's just like, "Just tell me." Hopefully that refreshes your mind. He who you hints to fair Lawrence cell. Romeo and Juliet meet at Fair Lawrence's cell and go off to get married. And that's where Fair Lawrence is like, kids, these kids today, they just want to get married right away, not enjoy life. So that is a quick summary of Act 2. So the next page we have here is actually the paragraph that you will be writing about for Act 3. So I'm giving you this in advance. So when you're writing your dialectical journal, this will help you because you can gear your quotes to the themes or the prompts that we have for you to write about. So for example, prompt number 1, discuss the theme of death in Act 3. So you can look for quotes throughout the act to write about them in your dialectical journal. So when you're writing your paragraph, you're like, oh, I have this quote about death. I can use it. And that will help you with your paragraph. So that's prompt number 1, discuss the theme of death in Act 3, questions to consider. All these have questions to consider, like, how do the characters view death? What do the characters say about death? And all these questions will help you gear your paragraph to a certain direction. So you could talk about what the characters say about death if you're talking about the theme of death. Prompt number 2, discuss the theme of family and parenting in Act 3. So questions to consider: what do the characters believe about the relationships between parents and children? What do characters say about their families? So some questions to consider. Discuss the theme of violence in Act 3. What causes violence? Why aren't the characters able to stop the violence? So some questions to consider. And discuss the theme of love in Act 3. So what do the characters believe and say about love? How are they affected by love? All right, so you can have that document available. So when you are going through Act 3, you could highlight specific parts or put them in your dialectical journal. All right, so is there any questions about the paragraph before we go into scene 1, which I'm pretty excited about? We had fun in my second period. We're having good role playing. Myself and an aide had to take a couple roles. So we're the ones that something happened to them. So it was pretty funny. All right, so let's go ahead. There's no questions. We're going to go ahead and proceed with watching the original text. Okay. So let's watch the original text. And then to remind everybody, we have the different roles with everybody's names, which character you're going to be reading or acting out. That's all located under announcements. Okay, so here we go.
I pray thee, good Mercutio, let's retire. The day is hot, the capels are abroad, and if we meet, we shall not scape a brawl. For now, these hot days is the mad blood stirring.
Thou art like one of these fellows that, when he enters the confines of a tavern, claps me his sword upon the table and says, God send me no need of thee. And by the operation of the second cup, draws him on the drawer, when indeed there is no need.
Am I like such a fellow?
Come, come. Thou art as hot a jack in thy mood as any in Italy. And as soon moved to be moody, and as soon moody to be moved.
And what two?
Nay, and there were two such, we should have none shortly, for one would kill the other. Thou. Why, thou wilt quarrel with a man that hath a hair more or a hair less in his beard than thou hast. Thou wilt quarrel with a man for cracking nuts, having no other reason but because thou hast hazel eyes. What eye but such an eye would spy out such a quarrel? Thy head is as full of quarrels as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarreling. Thou hast quarreled with a man for coughing in the street, because he hath wakened thy dog that hath lain asleep in the sun. Didst thou not fall out with a tailor for wearing his new doublet before Easter? With another for tying his new shoes with old ribbon? And yet thou wilt tutor me from quarreling?
And I were so apt to quarrel as thou art, any man should buy the fee simple of my life for an hour and a quarter.
The fee simple? Oh, simple.
By my head, here comes the Capulets.
By my heel, I care not.
Follow me close, for I will speak to them. Gentlemen, good e'en. A word with one of you?
And but one word with one of us? Couple it with something. Make it a word and a blow.
You shall find me apt enough to that, sir, and you will give me occasion.
Could you not take some occasion without giving?
Mercutio, thou consortest with Romeo.
Consort? What, dost thou make us minstrels? And thou make minstrels of us, look to hear nothing but discords. Here's my fiddlestick. Here's that shall make you dance. Zoons, consort.
We talk here in the public haunt of men. Either withdraw unto some private place, or reason coldly of your grievances, or else depart. Here all eyes gaze on us.
Men's eyes were made to look, and let them gaze. I will not budge for no man's pleasure, I.
Well, peace be with you, sir. Here comes my man.
But I'll be hanged, sir, if he wear your livery. Marry, go before to field, he'll be your follower. Your worship in that sense may call him man.
Romeo, the love I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain.
Tybalt, the reason that I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage to such a creeding. Villain am I none. Therefore, farewell. I see thou know'st me not.
Boy, this shall not excuse the injuries that thou hast done me. Therefore, turn and draw.
I do protest I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise, till thou shalt know the reason of my love. And so, good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as mine own, be satisfied.
Oh, calm, dishonorable, vile submission. A la staccato carries it away. Tybalt, you rat catcher, will you walk?
What wouldst thou have with me?
Good king of cats, nothing but one of your 9 lives, that I mean to make bold withal. And as you shall use me hereafter, dry beat the rest of the 8. Will you pluck your sword out of his pilcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears ere it be out.
I am for you.
Gentle Mercutio, put thy rapier up.
Come, sir, your passado.
Draw, Benvolio, beat down their weapons. Gentlemen, for shame forbear this outrage. Tybalt, Mercutio, the prince expressly hath forbid this banding in Verona streets. Hold, Tybalt! Good Mercutio!
Wait, Tybalt!
I am hurt. A plague of both houses. I am sped. Is he gone and hath nothing?
What? Art thou hurt?
I. A scratch. A scratch. Mary, 'tis enough. Where is my page? Go, villain, fetch a surgeon.
Courage, man. The hurt cannot be much.
No, 'tis not so deep as a well, nor so wide as a church door. But 'tis enough. 'Twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. I am peppered, I warrant, for this world. A plague of both your houses. Soon's a dog, a rat, a mouse, a cat to scratch a man to death. A braggart, a rogue, a villain that fights by the book of arithmetic. Why the devil came you between us? I was hurt under your arm.
I thought all for the best.
Help me into some house, Benvolio, or I shall faint. A plague of both your houses. They have made worms meat of me. I have it. And soundly, too. Your houses!
This gentleman, the prince's near ally, my very friend, hath got this mortal hurt in my behalf. My reputation stained with Tybalt's slander, Tybalt that an hour hath been my cousin. Oh, sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate, and in my temper softened valor's steel. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, brave Mercutio is dead. That gallant spirit hath aspired the clouds, which too untimely here did scorn the earth. This day's black fate on more days doth depend. This but begins the woe, others must end. Here comes the furious Tybalt back again. Alive in triumph and Mercutio slain. Away to heaven respective lenity and fire-eyed fury be my conduct now. Now, Tybalt, take the villain back again that late thou gavest me. For Mercutio's soul is but a little way above our heads, staying for thine to keep him company. Either thou, or I, or both must go with him.
Thou wretched boy that didst consort him here, shalt with him hence.
This shall determine that. Romeo, away. Be gone! The citizens are up and Tybalt slain. Stand not amazed. The prince will doom thee death if thou art taken. Hence be gone. Away! Oh, I am fortune's fool. Why dost thou stay?
Which way ran he that killed Mercutio? Tybalt, that murderer, which way ran he?
There lies that Tybalt.
Up, sir, go with me. I charge thee in the prince's name, obey.
Where are the vile beginners of this fray?
O noble prince, I can discover all the unlucky manage of this fatal brawl. There lies the man, slain by young Romeo that slew thy kinsman, brave Mercutio.
Tybalt, my cousin. Oh, my brother's child. Oh, prince. Oh, cousin, husband. Oh, the blood is spilled of my dear kinsman. Prince, as thou art true, for blood of ours shed blood of Montague. Oh, cousin, cousin.
Benvolio, who began this bloody fray?
Tybalt, here slain, whom Romeo's hand did slay. Romeo, that spoke him fair, bid him bethink how nice the quarrel was, and urged withal your high displeasure. All this uttered with gentle breath, calm look, knees humbly bowed, could not take truce with the unruly spleen of Tybalt, deaf to peace, but that he tilts with piercing steel at bold Mercutio's breast, who, all is hot, turns deadly point to point, and with a martial scorn, with one hand beats cold death aside, and with the other sends it back to Tybalt, whose dexterity retorts it. Romeo, he cries aloud, "Hold, friends, friends, part!" And swifter than his tongue, his agile arm beats down their fatal points, and twixt them rushes, underneath whose arm an envious thrust from Tybalt hit the life of stout Mercutio. And then Tybalt fled. But by and by comes back to Romeo, who had but newly entertained revenge, and to't they go like lightning, for ere I could draw to part them was stout Tybalt slain, and as he fell, did Romeo turn and fly. This is the truth, or let Benvolio die.
He is a kinsman to the Montague. Affection makes him false. He speaks not true. Some 20 of them fought in this black strife, and all those 20 could but kill one life. I beg for justice, which thou, prince, must give. Romeo slew Tybalt. Romeo must not live.
Romeo slew him. He slew Mercutio, who now the price of his dear blood doth owe.
Not Romeo, Prince. He was Mercutio's friend. His fault concludes but what the law should end, the life of Tybalt.
And for that offense, immediately, we do exile him hence. I have an interest in your heart's proceeding. My blood for your rude brawls doth lie a-bleeding. But I'll amerce you with so strong a fine that you shall all repent the loss of mine. I will be deaf to pleading and excuses. Nor tears, nor prayers shall purchase out abuses, therefore use none. Let Romeo Henson haste, else when he is found, that hour is his last. Bear hence this body, and attend our will. Mercy but murders, pardoning those that kill.
Whoa. So that's a very intense scene. We know that 2 people die and somebody gets exiled. So let's go ahead and start reading the original, not the original, the modern text. We have Natalia, who's playing Benvolio, Carlos Rios, who's playing Mercutio, Joanna as Tybalt, Myra as Petrocchio, Alexa Valdivinos, Romeo, Diana as Citizen of the Watch, Christian as the Prince, Kat as Lady Capulet, and Ephraim as Montague. So there's a lot of characters in this scene. So let me go ahead and I'm going to direct you to the first page of scene Act 3, scene 1. I'm going to put this on the chat box so you guys could quickly find the link to the story. So meanwhile that you all are doing that you guys are opening the text, I'm going to be assigning questions to students. There is 5 questions for scene 1. So for question number 1, at the beginning of Act 3, who says the following lines and what these lines foreshadow? I pray thee, good Mercutio, let's retire. The day is hot, the Capulets abroad, and if we meet, we shall not escape a brawl. For now, these hot days is the mad blood stirring. So that question will go to Sonora. You have question number 1. Question number 2. What does Mercutio tell us about Benvolio in lines 15 to 27? Is this true? Explain what is happening here. So that question is going to go to Marvella. Question number 3. Examine Mercutio's gray man line. What figure of speech is used? What is the meaning? So I'll be helping out the student with this question because it's figurative language and you might need a little assistance on this. So Liliana, that is your question. Question number 4. Explain the following lines on page 6. This gentleman, the prince's near ally, my very friend, hath got his mortal hurt in my behalf. My reputation stained with Tybalt's slander, Tybalt that an hour hath been my cousin. O sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate, and in my temper softened valor's steel. So you're going to explain to us what those lines mean. So that question is going to go to Ariana. That is your question. Question number 5. Explain the prince's judgment and why he makes this ruling. Okay, so that question is going to go to Adriana. So we have Adriana, who is going to be answering question number 5. So I'm going to review again who's answering which question. So question number 1, Sonora. Question number 2, Marvella. Question number 3, Liliana. Question number 4, Ariana. And question number 5, Adriana. All right, so we have our students answering questions. Now let's go into reading the modern version. All right. So Mercutio, his page, and Benvolio enter with other men. So Benvolio, who is Natalia, whenever you're ready, you can kick it off.
I'm begging you, good Mercutio, let's call it a day. It's hot outside and the Capulets are wandering around. If we bump into them, we'll certainly get into a fight. When it's hot outside, people become angry and hot-blooded.
Good. We're going to stop right there really quick. That answers the first question. So, Sonora, the first question says, who says the following lines? So who says it? Who says these lines? So who just read? What character just said this, I should say?
Was it Mercutio? I couldn't really hear.
It's actually Benvolio right here.
Okay.
Benvolio. So what does the lines foreshadow though? What does, you watch the original text. What does it foreshadow? Benvolio saying this. What does this foreshadow? What do you think is this hinting on what's going to happen? And that's still for Sonora.
I think it means if he were to go like do something, it would start like a whole problem and cause like a whole fight between the people.
Yeah, so he's telling them, let's go because it's hot. And when it's hot, people are angry. And when people are angry, it's going to cause a fight. So let's go. So that's essentially what Benvolio is saying. So thank you, Sonora, for giving your best effort and always giving your best in the class. I greatly appreciate it. All right, so let's. The next question will be coming up. What does Mercutio tell us about Benvolio in lines 15 to 27? Is this true? Explain what's happening here. All right, so Mercutio, which is Carlos Rios, you're up.
Oh, all right. You're like one of those guys who walks into a bar, slams his sword on the table, and then says, "I pray I never have to use you." By the time he orders a second drink, he pulls his sword on the bartender for no reason at all.
Go ahead.
Am I really like one of those guys?
Come on, you can be as angry as any guy in Italy when you're in a mood. When someone does the smallest thing to make you angry, you get angry. And when you're in the mood to get angry, you find something to get angry about.
And what about that?
Wow.
You can do it.
Yeah. If there were two men like you, pretty soon there would be none because the two of you would kill each other. You would fight with a man if he had one more whisker or less whisker in his beard than you have your beard. Then you have in your beard. Sorry. You fight with the man who's cracking nuts just because you have hazelnut colored eyes. Only you would look for a fight like that. Your head is as full of fights as an egg is full of yolk, but your head has been beaten like scrambled eggs from so much fighting. You started a fight with a man who coughed in the street because he woke up a dog. That was sleeping in the sun. Didn't you argue it out with your tailor for wearing one of his new suits before the right season, and with another for tying the new shoes he made with old laces? And yet you're the one who wants to teach him about restraint?
Okay, so before we go to the next page, Marvella, that answers your question. What does Mercutio tell us about Benvolio in lines, in this whole little chunk? So what does this tell us?
That he picks fight on people that are a little bit better than him.
Yes. So Mercutio is saying that Benvolio is hot-headed, and that he picks fights with anybody. Now, the first line that he says, what does Benvolio tell Mercutio?
Do I read that?
Yeah, you can read it.
I'm begging you, good Mercutio, let's call it a day. So basically to stop.
Yeah, to stop. Does that sound like a hot-headed person to you? Or does it sound like an even-headed, like, let's go because something's gonna happen?
Yes.
Yeah, right? So Mercutio is accusing Benvolio of being a hothead. That's not true. It's Mercutio who's actually a hothead. And we'll find out why. But it essentially is just Mercutio just making fun of Benvolio for being just like level-headed. But it's not true that he is a hothead. He's not true. It's actually Mercutio who's a hothead. So thank you, Marvella. All right, let's go on to the next page. So Benvolio, go ahead and keep reading.
If I were in the habit of the way you are, my life insurance rates would be sky high.
Your life insurance? That's foolish.
Tybalt, Petruchio, and Capulet enter. So go ahead, Benvolio.
Okay, here come the Capulets.
Well, I don't care.
Follow me closely. I'll talk to them. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'd like to have a word with one of you.
You just want one word with one of us? Put it together with something else. Make it a word and a blow.
You'll find me ready enough to do that, sir, if you give me a reason.
Can you find a reason without my giving you one?
Mercutio, you can hang out with Romeo.
Hang out? Who do you think we are? Musicians? In a band? We look like musicians. To you, you can expect to hear nothing but noise. Do I have to read the
No, that's just stage direction.
All right. This is my fiddle stick. I'll use it to make you dance. God damn it, hang out.
We're talking here in a public place. Either go somewhere private or talk over it rationally, or just go away. Out here, everybody can see us.
Men's eyes were made to see things, so let them watch. I won't move to please anybody.
Romeo enters.
Well, may peace be with you. Here comes my man, the man I'm looking for.
He's not your man, all right? Walk out into a field and he'll chase you. In that sense, you can call him your man.
Romeo, there's only one thing I can tell you. You're a villain.
So Romeo is Alexa Valdovinos. So go ahead, take it away, Alexa Valdovinos.
Tybalt, I have a reason to love you that lets me put aside the rage. I should feel and excuse that insult. I am no villain. So goodbye, I can tell that you don't know who I am.
Boy, your words can't excuse the harm you've done to me. So now turn and draw your sword.
Go ahead, Alexa Valdovinos.
I do protest. I never injured thee, but love thee better than though. Oh, I was reading the wrong side.
Okay, yeah, you're right here.
I disagree. I disagree. I've never done you harm. I love you more than you can understand until you know the reason why I love you. And so, good Capulet, which is a name I love like my own name, you should be satisfied with what I say.
I'm going to pause it really quick right there. Right here, Romeo is essentially saying, look, I love the name Capulet because essentially I'm married to a Capulet. So, you know, you may not know it yet, but we're actually family. And he's, Romeo is hinting at that because, like we know, the only people that know about the marriage is the nurse, Fair Lawrence, Romeo, and Juliet. So everybody else doesn't know what's exactly happening. So the next question is going to come up. Examine Mercutio's grave man line. What figure of speech is used? What is the meaning? So that's on page 5. So it is coming up. So go ahead.
Me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This consummation is honorable and vow. The thrust of a sword will end the surrender. You cat ratcher. I mean, you cat ratcher. You rat ratcher. Wait, what? Wait, I don't know what I'm saying. My bad. You rat catcher. Oh, you go fight me.
You get.
Or no, I thought I said cat. So my bad.
You're good. No, you're good. Thank you. Timbo, go ahead.
What do you want from me?
Okay, now I say cats.
Yeah.
Good thing of cats. I want to take one of your 9 lives. I'll take one depending on how you treat me after that. I might beat the other 8 out of you too, but you pull your sword out of its sheath, right? Sheath? Sleeve? Or sheath? I think it's sheath. I'm pretty sure. Hurry up or I'll smack you on the ears with my sword before you have yours drawn.
I'll fight you.
Go ahead, Alexa Baldovinos.
Noble Mercutio, put your sword away.
Come on, sir, perform your forward thrust, your pasado.
And this is Romeo right here. Mercutio and Tybalt fight. So Alexa
Draw
Baldovinos.
your sword, Benvolio, let's beat down their weapons. Draw your sword, Benvolio, let's beat down their weapons. Gentlemen, stop this disgraceful fight. Tybalt Mercutio, the prince, has banned fighting in the streets of Verona. Stop, Tybalt, stop. Good, Mercutio.
Romeo tries to break up the fight. Tybalt reaches under Romeo's arm and stabs Mercutio. Petruchio, which is Myra.
Let's get away, Tybalt.
Good. Tybalt, Petruchio, and other Capulets exit.
I've been hurt. May you plague curse both your families. I'm finished. Did he get away clean?
What? Are you hurt?
Yes, it's a scratch. Just a scratch, but it's enough. Where is my page? Go, boy, get me a doctor.
Mercutio page exits. Romeo, which is Alexa Baldovinos. Go ahead.
Have courage, man. The wound can't be that bad.
Okay.
No, it's not as deep as a well or as a wide as a church door, but it's enough. It'll do the job. Ask for me tomorrow and you'll find me in the grave. I'm done for this world, I would believe. May plague strike both your houses, god damn it. I can't believe that dog, the rat, that mouse, that cat could scratch me to death. The braggart punk, how do you pronounce that word?
Punk villain.
Oh, villain. Okay, who fights like he learned swordsmanship from a manual. Why the hell did you come in between us? He struck me from under your arm.
So before we proceed, that answers the third question. So examine Mercutio's grave man line. Okay, so I'm going to read it in the original text and then in the modern text. So Liliana, that is your question. So I'm going to read it, and then you're going to take your best shot on what you think is your the figurative language. Just a reminder, we're learning figurative language together. It's like a journey. We're gonna row the boat together. We might not know the direction, but we are rowing, and we'll definitely get there. All right. So let's see. Not so deep as a well nor as wide as a church door, but 'tis enough. Tools severe, ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. So on the original text, it says, no, it's not as deep as a well or wide as a church door, but it's enough. It'll do the job. Ask for me tomorrow, and you find me in a grave. So the lines are for the figurative language is this one. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. So, Leon, do you know what figurative language they're using? And just a reminder, figurative language is metaphor, similes, alliteration, puns, personification. What do you think they're using here?
I'm not quite sure, but I believe it's a metaphor.
Okay. Thank you for taking your best effort. It's not a metaphor, but you're very you're getting there. So this grave man, when somebody says, "Oh, he's a grave man," sometimes you think, well, let me ask you, what do you think when you hear the word, "Oh, that man is a grave man"? That word "grave."
Someone that's dead.
Dead or dying. So here is saying, you'll find me a grave man, which grave man could reference that he's sick, he's very ill, or he's about to die. And he's making that pun that he's a grave man, which he's gonna be in the grave. So he's alluding to that he's dying. So it is a pun. So thank you, Liliana, for working through that together. It's a journey. We got this. We're getting there. So thank you, Liliana. The next question is coming up. Explain the following lines, 71 to 75, page 6. So that is coming up, and that is for Ariana. So make sure you're ready for that question. So we left off here. So Alexa Valdivinos, go ahead and continue.
I thought it was the right thing to do.
Take me inside some house, Benvolio, or I'll pass out. May a plague strike both your families. You turn me into food for worms. I'm done for curse your families.
Mercutio and Benvolio exit. Go ahead, Alexa Valdivinos.
This gentleman, Mercutio, a close relative of the prince and my dear friend, was killed while defending me from Tybalt's slander. Tybalt, who has been my cousin for a whole hour. Oh, sweet Julia, your beauty has made me weak like a woman, and you have softened my bravery, which before was as hard as steel.
All right, so we're gonna stop there really quickly. That answers question number 4, Ariana. So this line, we're gonna take it piece by piece. This line right here, this gentleman, Mercutio, a close relative of the prince and my dear friend, was killed while defending me from Tybalt's slander. So what information do we find out here, Ariana, about Mercutio? So yeah, Romeo's sad. He's definitely upset, definitely. But what information do we find out in this line right here? About Mercutio. So Diana might be typing. Yes, he's a close relative to the prince. So this is going to take a factor on what's going to happen next. I'm not going to go into much detail, but this is a reason why something happens towards the end of the scene, and we'll come back to it. Now, this section right here at the end, "Oh, sweet Juliet, your beauty has made me weak like a woman, and you have softened my bravery, which before was as hard as steel." So right here, what is Romeo saying, Adriana? Now, he's definitely sad and upset, but why? He became weak. He became weak because he feels like he's connected to Juliet. And in the beginning, he was like, Tybalt, relax. I love your last name. Let's not fight. But because of that, this whole fight happened, and we find out what happened to Mercutio soon. So thank you, Adriana. Adriana, your question is going to come up. Explain the prince's judgment and why he makes this ruling. Wrong one, right here. So Benvolio, go ahead, take it away.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, brave Mercutio is dead. His brave spirit has floated up to heaven, but it was too early for him to leave on earth, for him to leave life on earth.
Perfect. And we just found out Mercutio's dead. And the best part is that Mercutio doesn't die without his wittiness. He's just like, oh, you curse you families, now I'm food for the worms. Like, and I think he could have saved himself in a sense, but he's just just going out with his wittiness. And I just love that about Mercutio. He always has something to say up till the last minute. Yeah, his death is very funny. He's just like, oh, I was killed by a cat scratch. How did that happen? So he's one of my favorite for sure. All right. So Romeo, go ahead, Alexa Valdivinos.
The future will be affected by today's terrible events. Today is the start of a terror that will end in the days ahead.
Good. Tybalt enters.
Here comes the furious Tybalt back again.
Go ahead, Alexa Valdivinos.
He's alive and victorious, and Mercutio is dead. Enough with mercy and consideration. It's time for rage to guide my actions. Now, Tybalt, you can call me villain the way you did before. Mercutio's soul is floating right above our heads. He's waiting for you to keep him company on the way up to heaven. Either you or I or both of us have to go with him.
So Romeo is set for revenge. So let's see what happens. So Tybalt is Joanna. So go ahead, Joanna.
Wreck boy, you hung out with him here and you're going to go to heaven with him.
Go ahead, Alexa Valdivinos.
This fight will decide who dies.
They fight, Tybalt falls and dies. Benvolio.
Romeo, get out of here. The citizens are around and Tybalt is dead. Don't stand there shocked. The prince will give you the death penalty if you get caught. So get out of here.
Good. I like that. Go ahead, Romeo. Alexa Valdivinos, you're all set. I think this is your last line.
Oh, I have awful luck.
Why are you waiting?
Romeo exits. The citizens of the watch enter. So that is Diana.
The man who killed Mercutio, which way did he go? Table, the murder, which way did he run?
Tybalt is lying over there.
Go ahead, Diana. So Diana, that's your line.
Get up, sir, and come with me. I command you by the
Authority.
authority of the prince to avoid me.
Good. The prince enters with Montague, Capulet, Lady Montague, Lady Capulet, and others. So Prince, which is Christian, go ahead.
Where are the evil men who started this fight?
Oh, noble prince, I can tell you everything about the unfortunate circumstances of this deadly fight. Over there, Tybalt is lying that he killed your relative, brave Mercutio, and then young Romeo killed him.
Go ahead, Lady Capulet. Lady Capulet.
Tybalt was my nephew. He was my brother's son. Oh, prince, oh, nephew, oh, husband, oh, my nephew, it's dead. Oh, prince, as you are a man of honor, take revenge for his murderer by killing someone from the Montague family. Oh, cousin.
Good. Prince.
Benvolio, who started this fight?
Tybalt started the fight before he was killed by Romeo. Romeo spoke to Tybalt politely and told him how silly this argument was. He mentioned that you would not approve of the fight. He said that all of this gently and calmly, kneeling down out of respect. But he could not make peace with Tybalt, who was in an angry mood and wouldn't listen to talk about peace. Tybalt and Mercutio began to fight each other fiercely, lunging at one another and doing each other's blows. Romeo cried out, "Stop, my friends, break up." Then he jumped in between them and forced them to put their swords down. But Tybalt reached under Romeo's arms and thrusted his sword into brave Mercutio. Then Tybalt fled the scene.
Good. And then I think this is still you, Benvolio. Natalia, that's all still you.
But pretty soon he came back to meet Romeo, who was overcome with a desire for revenge. As soon as lightning, they started fighting. Before I could break up the fight, Tybalt was killed. Romeo ran away when Tybalt fell dead. I'm telling you the truth. I swore on my life.
Benvolio is part of the Montague family. His loyalty to the Montague makes him tell lies. He's not telling the truth. There were 20 Montagues fighting in this awful riot, and together those 20 only could kill one man. I demand justice. You, prince, are the man who can give me justice. Killed Tybalt, Romeo must die.
Romeo killed Tybalt. Tybalt killed Mercutio. Who should pay the price for Mercutio's life?
Montague, which is Ephraim.
Not Romeo, Princess. He was Mercutio's friend. His crime died justice job by taking Tyb's life.
Okay.
And for that crime, Romeo is hereby exiled from Verona. I'm involved in your rivalry. Mercutio was my relative, and he lies dead because of your bloody feud. I'll punish you so harshly that you'll regret causing me this loss. I won't listen to your pleas or excuses. You can't get out of trouble by praying or crying, so don't bother. Tell Romeo to leave the city immediately, or else if he is found, he will be killed. Take away this body and do what I say. Showing mercy by pardoning killers will only cause more murders.
Perfect. And they exit. And that is scene 1. Whew, a lot of things happening here. So before we review the summary, Adriana, that is your question. What is the prince's judgment and why is he making the ruling? Oh, I think Adriana's actually not here. Okay. So I'm going to be selecting a student at random. Valerie's not here as well. Cat. So what punishment is the prince give Romeo?
He's gonna execute him.
Not execute him, exile him. Exile is when they tell that you're banished from the city and you can't come back. Going back to Liliana's or Ariana's question, where we found out that Mercutio was as a relative of the prince. Romeo was supposed to be killed, but because the prince is related to Mercutio, and Mercutio was killed by Tybalt, and Tybalt was killed by Romeo, he decided that he was just going to exile him. But if he comes back, he will kill him at the spot. So things got interesting. We know that Romeo and Juliet are married, and now Romeo is being exiled. He's not permitted to come back to the town. He has to leave immediately. And so thank you everybody who participated and who added to the acting out. I really love that, where students really get into it. So thank you. Let's go ahead and let's look at the summary before we go into our discussion.
Act 3, Scene 1 of Romeo and Juliet begins with Benvolio and Mercutio debating which of them is more hot-tempered. Tybalt and some other Capulets arrive, expecting a confrontation. Tybalt and Mercutio taunt and insult one another and are about to fight. Romeo enters and tries to break up the fight, but to no avail. Romeo draws his sword to intervene between them, but inadvertently leaves an opening for Tybalt to stab Mercutio. Tybalt and the Capulet men leave, and Mercutio lies dying. He cries, "A plague of both your houses!" Benvolio carries Mercutio away. Left alone, Romeo describes his horror at what has happened. Benvolio rushes back to tell Romeo that Mercutio is dead. Tybalt returns, and Romeo, in a fit of fury, kills him. Romeo runs as the citizens spill into the street. The prince, Lord Montague, Lord Capulet, their wives, and other members of both households arrive to hear Benvolio's account of what happened, which Lady Capulet insists must be biased. She demands justice in the form of Romeo's death. Lord Montague, however, argues that Romeo fought to avenge his friend and should not pay with his life. The prince agrees, but exiles Romeo from Verona with a threat of certain death if he is found there. Throughout this important scene, Shakespeare comments on the nature of violence and how characters give life to it, especially in Mercutio and Benvolio's opening dialogue. Although in the first act, Benvolio is portrayed as peacekeeper amongst the household servants, Mercutio comments how he is prone to getting into fights. Romeo attempts to appease Tybalt by claiming respect for the Capulet name. But since nobody knows that Romeo and Juliet are married, everyone on both sides is confused by his kindness. Romeo, being the hero and the lover, tries to bring peace to the warring families. Instead, however, his overtures are rejected, and Mercutio and Tybalt end up dead, signaling a much more serious and violent turn of events in the play. The prince, representing government and justice, again must intervene, and therefore he punishes Romeo as a murderer.
Perfect. All righty. So that is a summary of scene 1. Now, let's have a discussion. One of the main themes in this scene was revenge. Mercutio Tybalt fight. Tybalt kills Mercutio, and Romeo's just like, why am I letting this go? I'm gonna go and kill Tybalt for revenge because Mercutio is family. So, on Nearpod, is revenge ever the best way to handle a problem? Go ahead and answer that on the poll. And then we'll have a discussion. Is revenge the best way to handle a situation, a problem? And then we'll discuss. We'll give everybody a minute. So is revenge ever the best way to handle a problem? About 20 more seconds. Let me see who we're missing. Let's see. Heido, make sure to voice your opinion. Ryan, Diana, Daniel, make sure to voice your opinion. Okay, just a few left. Okay, just make sure that you are voicing your opinion because this is part of your participation in Romeo and Juliet, Act 3. So you do get points for all this. So let's take a look at what you all said. You guys said 65% of you said no, it's not the best way to handle a situation. 19% said you're not sure, and 11%, 11.5 said yes, it's the best way to handle a situation. All right, so let's go into the discussion part of this poll. So revenge is the best way to handle a problem. Yes, it is, or no. There is sentence stars available for you to discuss your opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and select a student at random to start this off for us. So Maribel, what do you think? Is revenge the best way to handle a situation? A problem that you may have?
No, I don't think it's the best way to solve it.
So do you think that revenge is sometimes hard not to do? You know, you're angry. Like, let's say, for example, you're in Romeo's spot. Somebody just killed your cousin, your sister, your brother, someone you're very, very close to. Do you think you would be able to handle that and not try to get revenge?
Probably not.
Yeah, right. It's difficult. It's a hard thing. We know revenge is not the best thing, but at the moment when something just happened, you're just like, "Ooh!" Revenge is the best answer because there are many ways to punish and get revenge. Ooh, okay, that's interesting, Miguel. I like that. I don't know if you want to share more of what your opinions are. But revenge is the best answer because there are many ways to punish and get revenge. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Anybody else have want to voice their opinion? Go ahead. It's an open forum at this point. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hello, I'm here now. Okay, well, I would have to agree that getting revenge is not a good idea, because if we put it into perspective of killing someone, say I kill your mom, you kill my mom, like, oh my god, you killed my mom, why would you do that? Because it's revenge. Well, now my sisters are mad at you, now my sisters are going to kill your dad. Well, now my brothers are mad at you, now my brothers are going to kill your dad. So then I feel like it's just like it gets worse and worse and worse. So no, revenge is bad.
It's like a cycle, because it's like when you get even, okay, I don't feel like I gotten even. It's my turn. So it's like this cycle over and over again. So thank you, Sion. Anybody else want to add to the conversation?
I disagree.
Okay.
I think that well, it depends on the person you are. I would get revenge because I am petty. What goes around comes around. I will get even with you. So I guess it depends on the person and what they did, like for them to deserve revenge.
I love how honest you are. Thank you so much for. I was just like the fact that you said I'm petty. Like, let's just be honest. I'm petty. I love that. I love that honesty. Yeah, I think it goes really hand in hand with what Miguel is saying. Revenge is the best answer because there are many ways to punish and get revenge. Maybe that's depending on what you're doing, maybe a good source of revenge. All right, so let's keep on hearing your opinions. Anybody else want to add to the conversation? Anybody disagree?
I actually agree with both Sion and Natalia for like a certain different reasons.
Okay.
Yes, I am petty and I will get you back if you do something to me. I know that's not the nicest person, but I mean, come on, like, yeah. So, but I also agree with Sion. If you keep doing it, you're just gonna start a war. You're gonna start some sort of feud, and it's gonna keep going and going, and it's just gonna escalate to something bigger until one day you eventually cross the line, and then you actually get the other person mad and stuff. But to a certain degree, yes, revenge is the answer. But I mean, there's the law.
Yes.
So it's up to you.
Yeah, and Romeo has proven that revenge is going to get you in trouble. So anybody else? Go ahead.
I agree with Natalia, because if you get revenge on someone, then you're even. But like if you do it too much, then it's like, oh, now you have drama with someone. But if you get revenge and then you're even, and you don't have to hold a grudge because you're even now. Like they did something to you and you do something back.
Okay, but so let me ask you guys at this point, how do you guys feel like, okay, so let's say you have, gotten back at somebody. How do you guys feel at the moment that you're giving back, like getting that revenge? At that moment, how do you guys feel? Anybody can answer.
Relieved.
Relieved, right? Okay. Proud. Okay. So after that, you have like a day or two, how do you guys feel?
Like there's a weight lifted off my back.
I still feel
great.
Great. Okay.
Well, like darn, what now? It depends on how bad they did something to you. Like if you did something like really bad, then you're like guilty, but at the same time you're not, because then you remember what they did to you. Well, then what if we have two petty people? There's no end.
Yeah, that's true. What if both sides are very petty? That's a good point.
I mean, then they hold grudges if they're petty.
Well, what was that, Ayari? Sorry,
There's no such thing as too petty. Like, I mean, there is, but like, no. But I mean.
Okay. All right. I don't know if Miss Santiago or Mr. Sanchez, if you guys want to chime in. I don't know what you guys think. Let's get your guys' opinion.
I do have an opinion. I'm gonna base it off of what Cyan said. It was a bit dark, I think, the whole killing your mom idea, but I guess, I mean, some of you guys said that you'd feel like it's a good thing, I guess, that you got revenge. But just by getting revenge doesn't mean you're gonna get back whoever they killed or whatever they did to you. I mean, you might think you're gonna feel better, but either way, that person's still gone. So it's not gonna make a difference. You might feel good for a couple days, maybe a week. But what about after? What are you gonna do after?
Exactly.
There's like
But
nothing to do now.
Why
What was
suffer
that?
alone when you could suffer with someone else?
Oh. All right. Thank you, Miss Santiago.
I just
Well, go
I'd
ahead.
love to add that the main example that we're using is murder,
Yes.
not like a slightly less incriminating offense, but straight up
Yes.
murder.
Yes.
Oh, I would not get back at someone with murder because I'm not trying to go to jail. But I would, like,
I mean, you
would
only
still
go
get,
if you
like-
get caught, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I wouldn't get away with it. Something tells me I need to call the police or something. You all are acting pretty sus. I didn't even bring up the idea of murder. It just came up in the sentence, but I wouldn't use it against someone because I don't want to go to jail. And so I would get back at someone. Embarrassment is the best way to get back at someone.
Okay. Okay. Oh man, you guys made me laugh. Mr. Sanchez, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me personally, getting revenge. I mean, you look, hindsight's 2020, right? And so it's like maybe in the moment you kind of get caught up in your kind of heightened emotions and you can't really think rationally. But I would say generally that getting revenge is not the best way to handle certain things. And I think just in listening to the conversation, I mean, one of the things that I'm kind of fascinated with is this idea of like getting even, like, and I'm curious about like why is there that need to get even, right? And like and to match the level of like or the level of offense that has been done to you, right? I mean, that's kind of where my interest in this conversation is learning a little bit more about that.
Because
show them
then
how
you're
it
like
feels.
mad about that you let someone do something to you and then you didn't do anything back. Like it's like if you just let them do something and like you didn't defend yourself in that situation.
Okay. Natalia, I think you were saying something that you just both of you were muting yourself. You want to restate what you said?
Oh, I just said to show them how it feels like to say someone had killed someone that I loved, like, and you were in mourning, I would also feel anger. And with that anger, I'd probably do the same thing back. And like, so when doing that, they're going to feel the same amount of mourning or even worse, depending on the person I killed.
Okay. All right. Well, something that I wanted to add in, I think that it is easy for us to say that we shouldn't be getting revenge. But when we're in the moment and you're angry, it's difficult. But I think that's where as we grow older, we start thinking, okay, we have to take a step away. Like I always tell my students, whenever making a decision, sleep on it, because it makes you think of what's going to happen and if it's the best option. Because when your blood is boiling and you're like one of those cartoons that like it's angry and the red level is like, and then you're like, that like no consequences comes to your mind. And when we're talking about murder, obviously the law is going to get, it's really hard to hide murder when especially with all the technology that we have today. That's all I gotta say. Before you think about doing anything, please think about it. But yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
I keep interrupting.
No,
I would
you're
just
good.
like to add that, okay, yes, everyone might have the mindset of, hey, you can't kill someone. You have to think rationally, and you might not want to, go to jail for the rest of your life. But it's hard to get that into your brain at the moment where you're fuming, you're wanting to hurt someone, you're wanting to get even. Yes, most people have like anger issues. Some are much higher than others. I myself have a bit of an anger issue. So when I get like really mad, it's kind of hard for me to, be like, hey, stop. Like that's good. But I mean, it's kind of hard for you to get like that sense of, hey, calm down and like think about your decisions. So that's what I would just like to add, by the way.
Yeah, no, definitely. I completely agree with you. I think that it's very hard to be thinking rationally. There's a lot of sense of revenge. And I think I do like what Miguel was saying. Revenge doesn't always mean getting even. Like, for example, if somebody was picking on you or being mean to you, what's a good sense of revenge? Proving them wrong and setting that anger to something for your goals, making sure that you are doing better. Like we said before, it's very difficult to do that, but I think that as we grow, kill them with kindness. Yes, I think that we definitely want to make sure you think about it thoroughly before you act on it. Sleep on it. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was a blast. There was another section, another question we had, but we'll probably talk about it tomorrow. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you all. If you have a question, David, I know that your computer shut down, so don't worry. Thank you.
Mr. Aguilar, I think the only conclusion you came with this conversation is that we all need extensive therapy. Like,
just a little. I think we need to meditate in the beginning of class now. I think that's the conclusion we came up with.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Yadi, for all your comments.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow, guys.
Conversation. See you tomorrow.
All right, then, Mr. Aguilar and Mr.